We have defined evolution as change in allele frequencies of a population over time. The changes of these allele frequencies can accumulate and cause changes in the overall population, which eventually can accumulate and cause the formation of a brand new species, a process called speciation. There are several mechanisms by which these changes in allele frequencies can occur. Before we look at the mechanisms, I want to point out that individuals do not evolve. The smallest unit of evolution is a population. Allele frequencies can change in a population. Individuals are always born with two alleles. They can have homozygous genotypes or heterozygous genotypes. However, their genotypes will not change, which means their allele frequencies will not change. You're born with the genes you have, and you're stuck with them for your whole life. Remember, we have talked about mutations in the previous unit. A mutation is a change in the DNA sequence. These changes can occur in a gene, where it's generally a problem, or they can occur in the junk DNA that does not code for anything. Mutations are generally deadly. They can cause disorders, disease, deformities, because they mess with the overall protein, which is the product of a gene. Some mutations are positive or can be good. This is our ultimate source of variability, where new variations or alleles come from. However, this is a very rare event. There are many kinds of mutations that we can look at. Some of the causes are spontaneous mutations, which are mistakes that occur during replication, radiation, which is when there is too much X-ray or UV damage to the DNA, or chemicals, where chemicals found in things like cigarette smoke, exhaust from cars, pesticides, or other toxins can damage the DNA. Here are 3 facts that you need to know about mutation. 1. Mutations are the ultimate source of all genetic variations. This is where genetic variability comes from originally. 2. Mutations must be in the gametes of an organism to be passed on. If a mutation is localized someplace like your skin, those damaged genes are not going to be passed on to your offspring. Again, mutations have to be in the gametes, the eggs or the sperm cells, for that to be passed on to the next generation. Mutations are random. Organisms are not trying to evolve new traits. They don't want to change their DNA because generally the odds are against them, and that kind of change or mutation will be deadly. Occasionally we do have a mutation that doesn't kill and becomes a new allele or gene, but again, this is a random event, not something that organisms plan for. Mutations can cause evolution because you're introducing a brand new allele into the population, and this will change the allele frequencies. In our original population, all of the alleles were capital B. This means that the frequency of big B was 100%. After a mutation occurs, if it is not a deadly mutation, we now see the introduction of a little b in the population. This can change the allele frequencies. Now we have 99% big B and 1% little b. Over time, if that little b is beneficial, it will be passed on from generation to generation, and we see that the overall allele frequencies will change dramatically. This is evolution.